Gaelic Football on Off the Ball.
With AIB, proud sponsors of the GAA Senior Football Championship. Check out #TheToughest for more.
All right, by popular demand, it's fair to say at least 2 people were complaining that there was no GAA Quick Picks on any platform this year so far. And we heard you, and we waited, 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 and we're now at least halfway through the season, depending on how you know, in terms of the number of games. Is that how I'm kind of butchering this, but there used to be a slot on OTB AM, the sports breakfast show from Off the Ball. Does everybody know we have a sports breakfast show? Do they?
Oh, I knew. I did you know?
I had heard about it. All right.
Yeah.
The 2 lads here had never heard about it though.
What's this?
We get up early.
Will's on it regularly. They don't. I think they're afraid to ask me to do anything on it, or don't rate me or something. I don't know.
Oh, shots fired. Anyway, tune in every morning.
That Buick fella doesn't like me.
YouTube.com/Off the Ball, or the OTB Sports app, or just tell your smart speaker to turn on OTB Sports Radio. And we used to do the slot, and then for whatever reason it disappeared. But
I know exactly why. Owen went to South America, and Owen was the driving force behind this actually working, to the point that Owen would be WhatsApping you saying, if you're not around, still get your picks in. He tried to keep this in good order over the last 3 years, and then Tommy Rooney made a mockery of it last year by missing at least 12 predictions and screwing everything up. And poor old Cameron got the blame for everything when the tables were wrong.
Tommy tried to claim the win, didn't he?
He tried to claim the win, despite the fact he missed weeks upon weeks of predictions, and started bringing it down to percentages, and started trying to argue that was the way it should be decided as opposed to the total amount of picks, and it was a complete mess.
So for clarity, the people who are here today will make picks by email or grandfathered in, or appoint a proxy for them on a weekly basis, and at the end of it we will have a champion, and that champion will get what forfeit?
The champion will get a forfeit.
You're punished for doing well.
The ability to create a forfeit.
Forfeit from everybody else.
The losers wear a jersey of their county's greatest rivals. Is that fair? Someone has to provide the jerseys, obviously.
I welched on that before, actually. I lost a bet where I had to wear a tip jersey for something, and I kicked it down the road long enough that it eventually got forgotten.
So Jerry, a Dublin jersey.
Welshing on bets. I'm not picking. I'm the host.
Fair.
Can I just set a parameter here now, though, Jerry, in case people don't send them in? So if your pick isn't sent in for that week, you're marked 0.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
None of this crack of I just want percentages because I missed a few rounds because I'm on holidays.
No. Show up. The best ability is availability. An Andy Farrell tattoo. Arthur James O'D is suggesting in my head.
That tattoo looks more like Ange Postecoglou.
That tattoo looks nothing like Andy Farrell. You need to go back there and ask them to do that again for you. They can just do that, right? They can just take that one off and put a new one down.
It's not like it's permanently on your body forever.
Mac,
I hope that person isn't also an Arsenal fan if it's if it looks like Ange.
Mac Hansen, I don't know who he supports, but
so you can leave a comment in the YouTube stream.
I missed this. Mac Hansen has an Andy Farrell tattoo.
Yeah,
I just thought it was a randomer on Twitter. No, I missed this.
No. Oh yeah.
Mac.
He promised to get one, he got one, and it's, it's kind of a little bit, it's as,
if you're legally blind,
it's as like Andy Farrell as the statue of Ronaldo is like Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Genie, Mac, why would you do that? What?
Anyway, so we're going to pick 5 or 6 games every week. Everybody has to make their pick and tell us why, and we'll get to the end of it. And we're going to keep scores. Is Sil O'Wallaghan available to us out there to keep scores, do we think?
He sounds well placed. I obviously can't keep them because I'm in here, but
no, but your buddy,
alter ego,
who keeps the crappy quiz score.
If he can't, I'm sure we'll find someone knocking around the office. It was like Shane Hannon. How many minutes notice did you get for this?
I was told I was on this 60 seconds before I walked in.
There you go.
Yeah, but we were at least 5 or 6 minutes before we went live. So
yeah, so you've been thinking about it.
I've had loads of time then.
You don't actually know which games we're doing yet. So we're just going to do the TV games this week because that's the easiest thing for us to do. Cork Kerry, 3 o'clock Saturday, Porky on GAA Go. This is Group 1, as we all know. Group names, very important. So, Shane.
Who am I going for?
Yeah.
And talk myself into Cork here, is it? Cork were shocking, I thought, against Clare and Munster. They've bounced back, and I thought the win against Louth away was actually really good. Played very well to pick up any sort of win.
I was surprised by that result.
Yeah, especially away to a Mickey Hart team. It doesn't happen too often. I think that COVID year was the only time they've beaten Kerry since they last won Munster in 2012. there's no point dwelling on this one. Kerry are going to win this match. Like, I know there's the Páirc Uí Chaoimh factor. You can maybe convince yourself on a lovely summer's Saturday you could maybe swing it that the home team could win. But
well, hang on now, the Páirc Uí Chaoimh factor. The Páirc Uí Chaoimh factor was actually in Kerry's favour, because the last time they played there was the COVID game.
Yeah.
And so Kerry owed them a duffing in front of a crowd. Like, I can't make it. I love all the Kerry media mafia talking up Cork this week like it's back to 2009 again. But even then, like, when the big games happened, we all know who always won. Even when Cork had their best team. Anyway.
Yeah, and the Kerry team has been released as well, and it's all the stars of the day that you'd expect. The two Cliffords remain in the 15. Cork have made a couple of changes in that Louth game, injury enforced, but no, it's Kerry for me. Simple.
Mick?
Biggest issue for me in this game is that Kerry lost their first game. This should be a massive game where there is real danger of them going out of the championship, and the stupid 3-team through.
Okay, do you want to have a quick conversation about that? Because actually all we really want is when the knockout stages happen for all the best teams to have arrived there with the same amount of difficult games and complexity and injury risk and suspension risk. That's all we want. We want the 8 best teams to be playing knockout football, and that's what the system is going to give us. Initially I was of the view, this is a very convoluted way to get to that situation, but it's not convoluted at all. What we've managed to do is now completely eradicate the value and the ease of passage for Dublin and Kerry in particular into an All-Ireland quarter-final.
Yeah.
Now that's gone, and what we're going to end up with is everybody trialling stuff, building a panel, building patterns of play, trying to understand exactly what their strengths and weaknesses are, and we're going to get to an All-Ireland quarter-final weekend, and for the first time in a long time those games are going to have jeopardy of outcome, equality of arrival, and we don't know who's going to win.
I know, but we're sacrificing the jeopardy up until then.
Who cares?
It's either championship or it's pre-season.
No, that's a massive exaggeration of the situation that we have. This is how you get to the best teams. You get the best teams arriving to the point of competition where the competition kicks off in earnest, and that's when the jeopardy kicks in, because we don't want the best teams being flukily knocked out in a one-off where some random stuff happens that's sending off. It
wouldn't be a one-off though. There's two teams through out of a group of 4 if you're good enough to get, there's plenty of opportunity to get through. We need competition. We can't just be anointing teams and putting them through.
It's the opposite of that. It's actually there's no anointing of teams. What we're making sure is that everybody is arriving at the same stage of the competition with the same number of games played roughly, and if you're really good, you get a slight advantage by having a bye week, and if you're not really good but you're still good enough to get through, you still have an opportunity to reach the Ireland quarterfinals. And actually the system that everybody's been bitching and moaning about is giving us the system will come into its own in the quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals, when the best teams in the country will still be playing and nobody will have had a free ride to get there.
There has been a bit of jeopardy, hasn't it, though? Not quite knockout jeopardy, but that not topping your group now, all of a sudden people realise. Like, how often do teams win 3 games in 3 weekends in a row and still go on to win in Ireland?
You can also get a very sticky preliminary quarter-final as well, Shane, particularly if Kerry don't top that group that they're in with Mayo. If Kerry were to go through potentially as a second seed, someone's getting a hard preliminary quarter-final.
Big time. Kerry could get say Tyrone don't top their group. They could get a Monaghan or Derry.
Monaghan and Derry are destined to play each other again at least twice more.
Like perennial
like Batman and the Joker.
Yeah.
I still prefer the system where 2 go through, by the way. I think it's too many games to get rid of 4 teams, particularly when we could probably have all guessed the 4 teams that won't qualify at the start. But
16 down to 12 in 5 weeks of real time. For me, it's not great. I see where you're coming from. Sure. Kerry.
Right.
Yeah, it seems pretty simple. I think Kerry's mind will obviously be focused after what happened in the Mayo game, fully expecting to go to Páirc Uí Chaoimh and win.
Okay, by much? Is anybody giving me? Is this a close game? Is anybody
7 or 8
close game?
7 or 8 points.
All right.
Yeah, I was thinking 6.
Darren O'Sullivan was very. Ger, I know where you're coming from with the Yeraism, and he wasn't saying that Cork are going to win, but he was on Wednesday night, and he was very interesting on Kerry's they're just the fact that they're just not at that pitch yet, and that it's very hard in this kind of shortened period to get there in the way that they might have in the past, in that they won the All-Ireland, they went back to their clubs for a long time, they have a 6-month inter-county season rather than the old 10-month when you're basically professional in all but being officially a professional. You're constantly training with the best players, you're constantly fit, you're constantly so on, and so Kerry went through a Munster Championship and are now kind of in that Munster Championship mode, whereas Mayo went hell for leather in the league, had their break after they got knocked out early in Connacht and are like full blast now. So it'll be interesting to see, because Cork could be actually a little bit more battle ready, but
more like Mayo. So you're saying it's a close game. You're buying that it's going to be a close game.
No. I if I was to guess, I would say Kerry by 10. But I'm saying that it's the reason it's interesting.
I was chain pulling a little bit with the Kerry Mafia. I actually do genuinely think Cork are better now than they have been, and so I hope that there's going to be something in this game for them. It was much closer last year than I expected for the 50 minutes. The previous year, the 2 years previous in COVID, they did actually, of course, beat them. I don't think Cork are as bad as they showed so far. I do think the break is good. I think beating Mickey Hart's Louth is not easy. No one's done it easy apart from the Dubs.
I think a lot of people as well, Jar, after the league meeting between Louth and Cork earlier this year, would have given Louth a huge chance, even when they had to cede home advantage to go to Navan last weekend. That was a fantastic result for Cork. It also means Cork are pretty much qualified already going into this, so there's a certain free hit feel about it as well.
Okay, we got to go. Mayo versus Louth, 2 o'clock on Sunday, McHale Park. Shane.
Funny enough, Louth losing to Cork makes me think that they will absolutely give this one a rattle. Now it's in Castlebar. Mickey Hart is used to taking teams to Castlebar, battle-hardened Tyrone teams in league games, but Mayo just looked too good against Kerry. Now it's hard to continue that, and as I say, it's hard to do that week on week, but they'll probably have too much for them. Like the way Louth approach this game is going to be interesting, because if you can get the ball to Mulroy and if you can get the ball to those shooters, they will cause Mayo some troubles. I think it'll be a high scoring game, a free flowing game. It'll actually be a really good game to watch, but I just think Castlebar is a stretch too far for Louth. I think it'll be much closer than people think, and I actually only think maybe Mayo will win this game by 3 or 4 points.
Castlebar is not a fortress, by the way, but anyway.
No, it's not, and I don't know what the spread for this one is, but I think it'll be less than whatever the spread is, but I'd say Mayo by 3 or 4 maybe.
All right.
Yeah, I'll have to go for Mayo. I see where Shane's coming from. I think that I'll be interested to see. Again, it's almost at this stage of year you're looking for. It's like what you're looking out for. You're looking out for Kerry's bounce back, and in Mayo's case, I'm looking for can they do it every game?
Yeah,
exactly. Because
they did in the league is the thing.
They did, and then I don't know, that Roscommon game is sort of hanging over me a little bit. I thought they were terrible in that match. So look, I think they will win on, and I think this is now the real Mayo. We'll see them for the rest of the year. So.
All right.
I hope for the sake of a competitive game to watch that Louth can get to the pitch they did in the second half against Westmeath in the Championship and extra time against Offaly.
Yeah.
The concern would be if they play as openly as they did in the Leinster final. I think they'll create too much space for Mayo, and I never expected Reid to say that about a Mickey Hart team, that maybe sometimes they're a little bit too positive in their approach, but Mayo to get through by a few, but I think a bit like Shane said, I think Louth won't be too far off in that.
Okay, very quickly, Tyrone versus Armagh. This is 7 o'clock on Saturday evening.
It's the hardest one.
Group of death.
Healy Park and Omagh, I mean, nasty place to go, but this game was, so Armagh played Tyrone in Omagh in the last game of the league, needing the win to stay up. They lost by 2 points. They were without Rian O'Neill for that game. Andrew Murnan came off injured, if I remember correctly, as well. Turbo started, Conor Turbot. He scored a goal the last day against Westmeath. They were far from impressive the last day against Westmeath, and I'd expect Tyrone, with a bit of a rocket up their ass after the Galway game, albeit they had 14 men for a large swathe of that match, will win. So for me,
Tyrone.
there could be a couple of yellow and red cards maybe in this one, but Tyrone by 2 or 3 probably.
This is the hardest one for me. The only thing that's swinging it for me is the extra week off and the fact that they lost, so they need to do it. So I'm going to go for Tyrone.
I thought Armagh were pretty poor against Westmeath last week. I think Tyrone are going to edge it by a couple of points.
That's
in a game where they need a result.
That could have been their eye on Tyrone, though.
Everybody is saying Tyrone. That's the consensus.
So we've gone with all the same picks so far, have we?
So far, yeah. Kildare versus Dublin, Saturday 5 o'clock in UPMC Nolan Park.
The Nolan Park pitch will make it a little bit more interesting.
Just because it's a different venue.
It just seeing the Dubs outside.
Drawn straight.
Yeah, I like seeing the Dubs out of Croke Park. I've like the Kildare starting team again in. You've those sharpshooters up front, Woodgate and co. I think Dublin will have a reaction. If Costello plays like he did the last day, they'll be okay.
Hey, you're saying Dublin?
I'm saying Dublin. Dublin by probably 5 or 6.
All right. Mick?
Dublin.
Yeah. Will?
Draw.
Aye.
I fancy Kildare to get a draw on this one.
Aye.
I thought Kildare were very, very close to them in the Leinster semi-final. Wasn't impressed by the dubs against Roscommon last week. Whether it's the case they can lift the level from that, I think Kildare can get something out of the game. Draw for me.
That would mean there's a sequence of results where proper jeopardy, where Dublin Sligo in the last round, if Sligo were to win that game, they would go through and Dublin would be knocked out. Well, what would need to happen in the other game?
They haven't drawn with Kildare yet. There's a long way to go before they lose to Sligo as well.
I'm just saying. Well, I mean, if they draw with Kildare, using the form lines, Sligo and Kildare do. So obviously, as Arthur is saying in my ear, that means Dublin and Sligo are the same.
Another draw. Will Dublin go through with 3 draws?
Probably 3 points will get them through.
Totally, yeah. If 2 is good enough for everybody else. Roscommon versus Sligo, Group 3.
I love Roscommon. I'm a massive Davy Burke fan, and I just think what he's doing is incredible with this Roscommon team. I know Arthur's looking at me out in the box. I would love to make an argument for Sligo, and they were good against Kildare. Probably could have got a win out of that match, but for me, Roscommon by 6 or 7.
They're not a team to blow you away, though, are they?
It'll be 6 or 7-0.
yeah, one of those matches.
Sorry, Arthur. Roscommon to win and basically qualify on. That game's a Sunday, I think.
Yeah, clean sweep.
Then they can let Kildare win the last game. That'd be
wishful thinking there, yeah.
Okay, so Shane says the Rossies. Mick says the Rossies. Will says the Rossies. We only have one thing different, and that's Will with the draw. Donegal versus Derry. Final selection for this week's Quick Picks.
This is the one where I'd love to be different.
Is he going to use the phrase Fortress Ballybofey here?
Fortress Ballybofey, not quite a fortress, as Eamon McGee told us this morning, as it has been in recent years. Derry had flaws and frailties against Monaghan. Monaghan pushed up in their kickouts, and Oran Lynch wasn't expecting it. They'll be expecting it this week. No, Ballybofey is not, or Ballybofey, says I. Ballybofey is not enough to sway it. I think Derry will have learned their mistakes from the Monaghan match and probably come out on top.
Mick?
I don't rate Donegal at the moment at all, I'm afraid. I think they're in 2nd or 3rd tier, depending on what way you divide up the tiers, and I think Derry are near tier 1, and I think they'll win.
Be very surprised if Derry don't win this, yeah.
Alright, okay, so we've got very close to consensus, with the only outlier that Kildare will do something magical and get a draw.
Had to be different as well, Jared.
I know, fair. You
need a USP here.
Are we going for Talton tiebreak?
Got to zig when they zag.
And Clare tiebreak.
Do we want to do one tiebreak? Because you're like, there's nothing to tiebreak here.
What's your Talton tiebreak?
Talton tiebreak.
Bear in mind, this is the last round where teams are jockeying for first and second.
Town game, is that the
Fermanagh Antrim?
Oh,
is that a difference of opinions?
Advantage Shane.
Oh Jesus! This is in Brewster Park.
That's actually not a bad one. I like it.
It's in the athletic grounds.
It's in the athletic grounds.
Athletic grounds, yeah. It's the neutral
round, yeah.
Last round.
Right, very quickly because we're out of time. Quickly.
Sean Quigley, the difference for Fermanagh to win.
I'm going to go with Antrim.
And I'm going to go for Fermanagh.
Shane Fermanagh, Mick Antrim, and Will Fermanagh. And we will keep these scores. If Silla Wallahan wants to volunteer for this, we'd be very grateful.
Yeah, keep them all in that document before we end up.
Yeah.
Deleting it later.
Yeah, so it's on the document there, and my hands are now officially washed of this week's version of the GAA Quick Picks. Tell us in the comments if you welcome this new development, or you can always tweet us that off the ball.
We'll pick closer games next week.
Right.
Hurling finals.
Back after these.
Gaelic Football on Off the Ball.
With AIB, proud sponsors of the GAA Senior Football Championship. Check out #the toughest for more.